There's an incredible amount of hard work that goes into the production of any new vehicle. And that work doesn't necessarily end once it finally rolls off the manufacturer's production line. That's because a new model has to sell to make sure that all that investment in it pays off. And that's where promotion comes in, letting the general public know about it, making them aware of it, so that they'll go out and buy it, hopefully in droves. And apart from advertising, the main way of doing that is getting journalists to drive your new vehicle and hopefully fill their magazines, newspapers and programmes with reviews telling people how well the vehicle looks, how it performs and how fantastic it feels. So when you're launching not one but two new vehicles that are really at their best in an off-road condition, you have to do some serious thinking about where you're going to hold that launch, which is what Chrysler did when they chose to launch the new Jeep Wrangler and the Jeep Cherokee in Cyprus.
Well, we probably started planning this event about a year ago when we first hatched the idea to come to Cyprus. And over the past 12 months we've been working away. It sort of accelerates in the last 3 or 4 months, but really a good 12 months of planning to sort an event like this out.
If organising a foreign holiday is one of the most stressful things you can do, imagine the stress involved in organising trips for journalists from all over the UK and getting them out of their offices to war-torn Cyprus, all in one piece, and then having a fleet of your latest vehicles in perfect working order, waiting for them to test. The whole thing has to be organised like a military operation, with nothing at all left to chance. There's a huge team involved in making sure that the event runs smoothly, and for them it starts at the crack of dawn, preparing the vehicles for a day of off-roading.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Trust you all slept well. You're ready for your adventure today. As I said yesterday, we've got 130 miles to do, and that's about 6 hours driving, 8 hours to do it in, because obviously most of you are away tonight. Remember that we're here to give you instruction, and I've got a group of very experienced off-roaders behind me, and they are there to help you if you've got any questions and whatever you want about the vehicles, so please bear that in mind.
So with a bit of advice from an expert, off we went for our day of off-roading. But Chrysler didn't want to leave anything to chance. I mean, journalists in Cyprus? Who knows what could happen? So they provided us with a very detailed route plan, giving us directions every step of the way. So no excuses for anybody getting lost.
We're now on to much rougher roads and gravel roads for pretty much the next 3 hours. I'll be gibbering at you all the time over the radio, giving you various pointers, giving you some information about what we've got here, because we're going to head down onto the old Venetian trading route, which used to bring copper from the Paphos High Trudus Mountains down to the port of Paphos. Okay, so this is a real nice bit of the route, so let's go out and enjoy it.
By mid-morning we were in the middle of the Cypriot Mountains, but we still managed to find time to have a break for some tea and coffee. Well, we've made it through the mountains so far, and we're in the abandoned village of Freccia. And with me here is George, one of the support crew, wearing one of these fantastic t-shirts. Now there's a story behind these t-shirts. Real Jeep aficionados in America love their Jeep so much that on the last model Wrangler, when they changed them to the square headlamps, they made these t-shirts with real Wranglers have round headlamps. Well, they'll all be happy to know that the round headlamps are back. And what about this one? Real men drive Jeeps. What do you think about this, George? Is this what real men drive, Jeeps?
I think real women have to drive Jeeps as well.
They do. Where are we, George, in this? What's the story behind this village?
This was a Turkish Cypriot village here, and around 1974 the troubles were so bad that the inhabitants of this village decided it was time to go to the Turkish side. So they all up sticks and off, and we're left now with some empty shells. Yeah.
There's just apart from a few goats and us coming through. You've been organising the trips of journalists coming through. Has it been a tough job? Has it been hard work?
It's been an enjoyable job. It certainly has been tough. The hours have been long. We have to look after the cars. We have to make sure that they're all clean for the next day, all pristine, so that you can photograph them, film them, and basically everyone has a nice clean car when they come out in the mornings.
Yeah, George is looking forward to his Easter break, because when everybody has been sort of lying in bed in the morning nursing their hangovers, poor George and the support crew have been up at 6 cleaning the vehicles, getting them ready for everybody. We've done a fantastic job, because they seem to be holding up so far extremely well.
We've had no problems whatsoever, other than a few punctures, which is only to be expected when
a bunch of erratic
let
journalists
loose,
let loose on it.
From here.
Well, the vehicle we've been trying out this morning is the 2.5 litre petrol version, which is the entry-level model, and it's time to upgrade for the next leg of the journey to the top of the range, the 4 litre automatic. Make life a bit simpler, I think. Our schedule for the day's events had told us that there would be a lunch stop, and we all imagined a picnic. But not a picnic quite like this. There in a clearing in the middle of the forest were tables and chairs, waiters in white suits, cups of coffee, wine glasses, and even flowers on the table for us all. And while we tucked into the wonderful food, our vehicles were lined up and waiting, ready for the next leg of the journey.
When we first came through here, we'd actually were on the off-road course, and we came over the hill behind us, just up here, and drove straight past on the road up there, and looked down to the left and thought, this looks interesting. It's a potential lunch stop. And then we had to then think about how we could make it work. And the only way we could make something like this work was to ship in the caterers. And so it seemed like a crazy idea at the time, but our ground agents here in Cyprus said, yeah, we can do it, and the hotel were more than willing to do it. Obviously this is different to what they do down at the hotel. It's they enjoy coming up here and cooking out in the open, and we said, yep, let's try it. And it's quite wild, quite unusual, but we said let's go for it.
It's a lovely contrast to the kind of rough and tumble, out there in the off-roaders, and then suddenly there's this little bit of luxury. It's very nice.
That's its little twist in the tail.
So many manufacturers, you're not the only one. Launches are always, for new products, are always abroad in some sort of exotic location, some sunny place. Well, sunny place, but it's not very sunny here today. Why is that? Why not just get people down to the office in Dover and show them a load of vehicles there?
I think the thing is there's a lot of competition in the British motor industry now. It's probably not just the British motor industry, the world motor industry, to attract a small number of motoring journalists to their event. That involves, you have to really put together an event where you can attract them, not just because there's great accommodation or there's great food, but there's also great driving. It also helps if the weather's nice, because nobody likes driving in snow if they don't have to. Nobody likes driving in pouring rain or in fog or grey, miserable weather. If the sun's shining, it tends to lift an event, it tends to lift everybody's spirits and everyone feels good. And I think also is that there are some manufacturers who organise events where they bring in people from other countries, and not everybody wants to come to Britain for an event. For example, on this event here in Cyprus, although it's organised by the UK arm of Chrysler Jeep, we have invited South Africans and Japanese to it, and bringing them to Cyprus, I think, was quite attractive. They liked the idea.
I suppose you get some nice pictures out of it in the sunshine as well, presumably. And also, having seen the vehicles today in this kind of situation, which you wouldn't really get maybe in the UK, they really do look at home and you can really see how they perform, so there must be a degree of that as well.
There is, yes. Yeah, the thing about Cyprus is that it allows us to do 6-7 hours off-roading in a day and travelling a great distance. In the UK, the events tend to, when they're off-road, tend to be in a field or in a quarry, in a very small area. And that's great for a short event, but for something like this where we want people to drive for many hours in the car, we had to have the right sort of off-road conditions, and we found them here in Cyprus. Another reason why we came here as well is because it is a right-hand drive market and for us that's perfect because we are selling right-hand drive cars.
The attention to detail is incredible. Just talk me through some of the little sort of touches that you've put to it. I noticed the Jeep soap, and that's a very nice one.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, when we came out here to check out the location, I noticed in the hotel room there was a bar of soap with the name of the hotel imprinted in it, and I thought, well, if they can do it for the name of the hotel, surely they can do it for Jeep. So we spoke to the hotel and said, yeah, let's do it. And so we've placed those bars of soap in the hotel, in all the washrooms at the places. There are, believe it or not, toilets and washrooms here, so we put them in here.
There are toilets and washrooms here, definitely, with towels and soap.
Yes, much needed.
And a very clean toilet.
Oh, is that, oh, right, okay. I haven't been in the ladies, so I wouldn't know.
It's very clean.
Yeah, the gents aren't too bad either. But there are little touches like that we like to put into the event. When you've planned something like this and you spend the best part of a year of your life organising it, it's a shame to let the event down by missing out on the fine touches. You probably noticed in the vehicle this morning we had bottles of water and we had little sweets and packets of chewing gum and that sort of thing. On the off-road section, we made sure that everybody could stay in touch by using CB radio. Not the easiest thing to use in Cyprus because CB radio isn't legal here and we had to get special permission to use the CB radios. We have all little touches like that, and I think it just adds to the event. Anybody can organise a driving event, but a smoothly run, professionally organised event is quite difficult and takes a lot of time and effort, and hopefully we succeeded.
And before you know it, just as if nothing's ever happened, they're clearing up and they're away, and it's back to normal again. It'll never be the same again in this forest, I'm sure. This is Duncan Barber, who specialises in high-speed off-road camera tracking, and he's been giving us a few tips today. But Duncan is also responsible for setting up this incredible off-road course that we've been experiencing. What makes a good off-road course, do you think, Duncan?
First of all, you've got to make it suit the vehicle in some respects. I mean, we've gone out here and looked for areas where we can actually let the vehicle have its head, so to speak, and areas where we're able to take it into an off-road situation and be able to show the journalists what exactly it can do. We also wanted to make it more of a travelogue thing. It's got to be a bit of an adventure out there, not just a four-wheel drive course. I mean, obviously that has its uses because you want to be able to see how the vehicle works, but pretty much most of the people who have been on this event have actually taken these into serious off-road conditions. Here we wanted them to actually experience the vehicle in a different way, and I think we've managed to do that.
Well, sadly, our day of off-roading fun has come to an end.
And you know, I think it's kind of strange that a group of vehicles that started off as war vehicles of the 1940s have ended up fighting a sales war in the 1990s. But the Jeep Wranglers are definitely fit and fully prepared to do battle. The new coil spring suspension has dramatically increased the handling and the off-road capabilities. And when you combine that with these rugged American looks and the fact that they're so much fun to drive, I think Jeep have got a vehicle that's prepared to not only win the battle, but to win the war as well.